So there you go. Welcome one and all, and we hope that you enjoy our afternoon and see what you think to both the book, but enjoy and settle back. Here's our first video.
Thank you all for coming this afternoon and for supporting Kate at her book launch. Just a couple of housekeeping points. The toilets are at the back of the church to your left, at the back end of that corridor. The fire exit, one to your right at the front and one to your left at the back, in the event that there should be a fire. As the launch of Kate's book is part of our Methodist Women in Britain meeting, we have included 3 hymns and a few prayers, and refreshments will be available at the end of this afternoon. Can I just remind people of the next few MWIB meetings? Tuesday, the 11th of April, 2:30 at Barton, where we will participate in Space to Be. Sunday, the 5th of May, at 3 o'clock at Broughton, the Easter offering service. And Tuesday, the 16th of July, 2:30 at Hibblestow, Favourite Hymns. We will not be having an offering this afternoon, but there will be a plate for a voluntary retiring offering at the back of the chapel. It is for Oikos, which is benefiting from Kate's book sales today and throughout its print life. And Malcolm will explain later on more about Oikos. All the words for the hymns will appear on the screen, but for those of you that have books, I will announce the number. Kate is streaming the service today for those who are unable to attend, so as many people as possible can enjoy this with her. Let us join together as we sing our first hymn, Think of a World Without Any Flowers, and it is 572 if you have a book, and we are singing verses 1, 3, 4 and 8. pray. Father, thank you for allowing us to meet freely this afternoon. We thank you for your gift of creativity and for Kate's ability to write poems. May we feel your presence with us as we commit all we do and sing this afternoon into your hands. Amen. I will now hand you over to Kate.
Thank you again for coming today. I'm really quite touched that people have come at all, so I hope that you'll enjoy our time together. There have been so many people that have made today possible. Practically speaking, as I said at the beginning, Malcolm and Barbara have been such great help in putting our service together. And all the ladies that have baked or wished me well. I've had lots of messages this morning from various people, family and friends, so I'm very grateful for those. The book has taken a long time to come, some 32 years. I might not seem as though I might be that age, but I'm told that I wear well. I think that's one of the benefits of being a redhead. You'll have noticed from my book as you've come in that I write under the name Kate Brumby, and I thought it'd be a good idea to explain just why that is. Kate Brumby is my maiden name. It's also, thankfully, a district that's quite close to here, so it's easy to remember. But I started to write when I was only 20, so I hadn't met Mike then. So I was known as Brumby, but then when I started getting a bit more prolific with my writing, I discovered there's already a Kate Ellis. She's a thriller writer. So rather than me get confused with her, or in fact the other way round when I'm famous, I've kept my maiden name, which has caused quite a lot of confusion within church. Is it Kate Ellis? Is it Kate Brumby? Are you both? So I have to think, where am I? Who am I? And what am I here for? So today I'm Kate Brumby. And I'm providing copies that are available at the end of my book. Here you have the real product, and I've taken one of the sleeves off just so that you can see what lies beneath. There's actually some silver foiling. So if you do lose the cover, which everybody seems to say feels like silk or velvet or some other similar word, it's not a problem. You've still got a bit of me inside. And I think that's what my poetry is. It's very much a little bit of me. I first started to write when I was 20. I became a Christian when I first went to college in York. Everywhere I went, there was a Christian. The next room but one, down the corridor, or you go for a meal, and I was in the halls of residence, everybody there was a Christian. It seemed that I was destined to meet lots of people. And during the first week that I was at college, the chaplain, who actually wrote the foreword for my book, Canon John Young, he invited everybody to afternoon tea, and I thought, well, I've been going to church on and off. I've been an Anglican, I've been a Baptist, but now I'm a full member of Brigg. I'm a Methodist. But I've never been a proper member, if you like. I've flitted from one church to another. So at that time, when I was doing a bit of flitting, I thought it'd be a good idea to go to his afternoon tea. And at the very end, he went, right, if you'd like to go to the Methodist, go in that corner. If you want to go to Anglican, this one. And he was saying all these different denominations. And then he said, and if you want to go to the Elim, go in that corner. And I thought, Elim, what's that? Oh, well, college is new. I'm up for anything. So off I went. 2 weeks later, I became Christian there. And obviously, once a Christian, always a Christian. Maybe not a churchgoer, maybe not as close to God as I would have liked to have been at different times. But that's what marked my conversion, if you like, to being a Christian. And shortly after that, I was told that I had a malignant melanoma. Being a redhead, you burn easily, and one of my moles had grown substantially. I kept saying to myself, there might be something wrong. didn't do anything about it. Spoke to one of my new Christian friends who immediately said, you need to see the doctor. Within 2 weeks I had not only seen a GP but I'd had it removed, and I'm told that had I not gone then, I wouldn't have been around 6 months later. So there was certainly a timing back then. So when I started to write, I wrote about things that were strong emotions, I think, things about my faith, things that I experienced. And one of the things that throughout the last 30 years I've been very aware of is the need to be quiet. And the first poem from my book is called Abide With Me. Your hands are ever before me, open wide my whole ready to receive. I hear you call my name, Lord. Come, my child, come rest here with me. Remember, I welcome you always. No part of you do I turn away from. Simply draw close to me here, and into my presence now come. Rest with me in the stillness, cast all cares and burdens aside. Worry not about anything more, let us just together here abide. Following on from my cancer, in the 1990s, I had a scare of another melanoma, but that proved to be fine. And then we lost a few members of our family, so a few challenges at that time were feeling quite low. A depression like it I've experienced again since, but it was quite severe back then, and I found myself again writing lots, thinking lots, and I started to write so many things and sharing them with a few friends that I was encouraged to self-print, which is what I ended up doing in 93 and 94. And on the video that you saw at the very beginning, there's like a little pamphlet book that had about 20 poems in, and it proved quite popular. But I've always had the wish, or the dream, or the drive even, to have my work published properly, and today marks that. During the times where I haven't been feeling that I'm particularly close to God, I felt quite undirected, a bit of a loss. And one of the things that is always said to me, just be quiet. And I can chatter. Michael will tell you that I can chatter. If you get into conversation, I can chatter. But I do like to be quiet. And this poem is also from the book, and it's called Redirected. It's so easy to get lost without silence, forget to be still and listen to your voice. So many things distract and busy me. Resting is often a neglected choice. Yet, if I were to cease rushing and be more mindful in each day, I know that I'd be more effective and also efficient in all my ways. I'm reminded that when kept busy, I'm tempted to act in my own strength, when things could be eased greatly, if I would just on your wisdom depend. I know that I have a tendency to battle on like a tenacious soldier, ignoring that Jesus himself offers my yoke to carry and my burdens to bear. Lord, I know I grow ever weary, feeling fatigue, and I am often confused as to why I'm so headstrong and reluctant to turn, Lord, to you. So I ask that you'd help me pause now, to give time to be quiet and be calm, willing to receive your guidance and your worry-soothing balm. Lord, that I'd raise my hands towards you and also to you open up my heart. From this moment my life changing, as I seek you humbly and contrite. Lord, I can do little in my own strength. It's you I need to me now empower. Now that I'd be raised up, Lord, it is you who I want to lift up higher. Higher in my priorities, Lord, above all else put foremost, so that you are the light to my path, and I no longer feel forlorn or lost. I misread a word there. I said now instead of not. not that I'd be raised up. That struck me as I realised that I'd done it. But if I tell you that I'm dyslexic, perhaps you'll be a bit more forgiving in knowing that. I can chit-chat, I can read quite well, I do write a lot, but logic says I shouldn't be able to. When I was a child, apparently I struggled so much in reading and writing, they got an educational psychologist in. Well, back in the 70s, nobody knew about such things, did they? They didn't know how to help people with dyslexia. But it was clear from his assessments that that's what it was. So my teachers decided to give me some homework. I had to write down every word that started with a sound or ended with a sound. Well, if you know that, maybe that's why I can rhyme things more easily. Can I spell? Well, the homework was write down all the words that start with a sound and end with a sound, and then every one you get wrong, which was more or less most of them, write them down a whole page of your notebook, and then we'll tell you when you've got it right. So they tell me, we were told this the other day, a few of us had an event in Brigg, and there was a lady there who's an expert in dyslexia, and she said that's the worst thing they could have done. However, I think it was pretty cool because I can rhyme. And what I would say is, knowing that it shouldn't be possible for me to be like I am, I embrace my dyslexia, and I think God, when he put me together, he gave me extra ribs. That's why my hands are cold when everybody was saying hello. So I've got extra ribs. My rib cage is all wrong. I was born with one leg shorter than the other, so I used to walk with it's like I don't know how, swinging gait sort of thing, and various things really. But I am unique, like we all are. But that uniqueness, I think, goes into my ability to write through God, and also the ability to laugh at myself, which is very handy at times, although Michael might say you don't do that often, and to, I think, appreciate that we are all different and we all have needs. So, how is it that I came to be a published author? Well, I haven't gone through a publishing house proper, as in those that say, yes, oh, you're good enough, but we want 80% of your royalties. And we want to do this and do that and the other, and you won't have any say in it. I've gone to our local publishing house, Dazer & Co., which is in Barton. And some of you that know me quite well will know that I get up early in the morning, and I'm on Facebook, aren't I, Gloria? And I can be anywhere from 3:30, and the last week I've been on Facebook at midnight because I've been so excited. So on one of the occasions that I was up very early, I spotted an advertisement telling me that there was 2 author events at the library, one of which was a how to get published workshop. I thought, oh, sign up for that, free, off I go. Got there thinking, not sure I am in the right place. Anyway, the lady that in question, Jade, started talking about the publishing house at Barton, and she explained it's more of a hybrid. So it's, yes, we pay for our books to be made, but the design cover, the typeset and everything else about the book, you have a say-so. And at the end of it, all the copyright is mine. Not only that, they've been involved in lots of marketing. You all got a bookmark when you came in. There's various bits and pieces around. They've designed my brand, if you like. Even my website they've set up for me. And unfortunately they couldn't be here today, but they will hopefully see our video later, and I'll just say to the camera, thank you so much. So I met Jade and we had a bit of a chat. I said that I'd self-printed, so she said, well, have you done it properly? Might you? So I said, what do I do? Send me some. So I thought, I got in, went straight to my study. The next day she got 20 poems. A few days later I got a message to say, we are interested. You can write. Part of the reason she thought I could write was she'd done this workshop and it was all about filling forms in, and I thought, I can't be doing with that. I haven't got a novel. And so as she was talking, I wrote a poem about what she was saying. So she said to me, "You wrote that while I've been talking?" And I said, "Yeah." She says, "So you can write, can't you?" Some of you might know as well, particularly the lay readers and chaplains amongst you, be careful what you say, because you might find that when you do, you talk or anything, it can find itself in a book. Where's my friend, Kath? Kath challenged me to write a poem including umbrella, and we pulled it off, didn't we, Kath?
No, I didn't. You did.
Well, yeah. I pulled it off for her. So, and then somebody else, Jackie's not here today, but she challenged me to write about washing up. So I wrote one about a coffee pot. So, like I say, be careful what you say. It might end up in a poem. It might even end up in a book. Which is what has happened to a few of you as well. Your names have appeared in my book. Some of you know that they have appeared. Some of you do not know. Surprise! So Daisy and Co had a chat with me, and I think they read some of my work June and then again in September. But most of the work leading to publication was done this side of Christmas, which was, for me, quite, are we going to finish it in time? But all the way along, not only did they have encouragement and enthusiasm, they knew exactly what they were doing, and we met all the deadlines that we needed to. So that's what brought the book today. Mike came to all the meetings with us, and I think they got used to the fact if they said it was going to be an hour, it was likely to be more than that, because we were very chatty and we had lots of questions and wanted to be really involved. While I'm mentioning people in the book, I'm not going to mention you by name, because most of you are in the back of the book in my acknowledgements. A couple aren't, because they said, "I don't want to be," which was fair enough. They know who they are. And also at this point I want to acknowledge who my book's dedicated to, and that's my mum. My mum's my best friend, and if I'm not careful I'll lose it, so I'll not say too much. There's a picture in the video that you'll have seen. There's a picture at the back if you want to have a look at my mum. The picture that was taken was on her 76th birthday, and we managed to get a proof copy just in time for her birthday. And she knew that the book was being dedicated, and I gave her it. So I just went, "Look up, Mum," and she gave me such a lovely smile. And so I keep that picture on my desk as I write. And she's thrilled to bits. She's very excited about the book. Thank you all to everyone who's taken the time to read my book, either as a beta reader or since. And I do look forward to your comments. Even the beta readers have not read all the poems. There are 60, and the beta readers only got 48 of those. There are 18 Celtic images, and the beta readers didn't see any of those because they were added just after Christmas. So there you go. So I've got a third poem here, which proved to be a very popular poem amongst the beta readers, and it's "My Happy Place." My happiest place is inside my head, when at close of day I think of all the blessings I've received and the joy each one brings. I savour smiles and sunshine. I recall laughter and words shared. I mentally hug each person who has shown that they care. Inside my head I store memories, so I will be reminded of who I am, each lovely moment treasured, whilst I am able, whilst I can. There may be a time in the future I won't be able to recall very much, so I hope that in my head I'll know that by others I've been loved. I pray that my happiest place will be filled like a library with books, today and in each tomorrow too, so I can at each blessing look. Wherever your happiest place is, I hope you will also know this truth, that whatever in it that's special is special because of one thing, you. Like me, you're brown shells, and in your mind's eye picture a place, as though a dust cover or jacket, guarding printed words on a page. I pray, like me, you will savour today, and enjoy thinking of a happy place, and at close of day in your heart, give thanks to God for his grace. I seem to have moved my pages around. In fact, I have, but that doesn't matter. We all have a lot of challenges, don't we? And some of the things that I mentioned earlier may well resonate with you. I used to work as an occupational therapist. I did that for almost 20 years. And I wasn't too well. I was diagnosed with yet another thing, an early menopause, which apparently started when I was 32 and finished around 38. So it was a grim time. I just met Mike when we finally got the diagnosis, and we both would have liked a family, but it wasn't meant to be. I believe it wasn't meant to be because of what else we would be challenged with a few years later, and that was with Mike not being well. Mike has a heart condition, he won't mind me saying. We manage. He's now retired. So what do we do? Somebody said to me, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm retired-ish. I'm busy in church, you know that. I do drawing, and Brenda and Pete are very lovely come along today from my art group. I read a lot, I'm in the garden, I'm busy doing all sorts of things. If somebody asks me now though, after today, what do you do? I shall say, I'm an author. But my writing, is it a job really? Well, I'll just read this poem, see what you think. I cannot say writing is my job really, not in the salaried or paid sense of the word. It is more of an addiction or even affliction from which I am not likely ever to be cured. I write almost daily and often more so, as sentences are conjured up in my mind, desperately trying to reveal themselves, keen that I do not from the world them hide. I do love how sentences are formed in rhythm and beckon me to help start each new day. Many anecdotal in nature or humorous, some about what my heart speaks or prays. I'm going to invite Malcolm, am I? To tell us a little bit more about oikos.
Thanks, Kate. What a privilege to be here and to hear Kate's story and be blessed by it. There's a couple of things that happened over the last couple of weeks where it's been like a first, and the Saturday before last was the first 100th birthday I've been to. Hubert Markham was 100, and it was great to celebrate that. This is the first time I've been at the launch of a book of poetry and been with the author and known the author. So it is really quite a privilege. And as has been mentioned earlier on, some of the proceeds from Kate's work, the badges and some of the book, goes towards oikos. So what is this thing called oikos? Well, I put a strap line up the front that was generated a few months ago. You can see. I'll say a little bit more about it in a second, but a place where Christians in Brigg and the surrounding areas can work together to demonstrate Christianity in action by responding to local needs, encouraging young people to discover Jesus Christ for themselves and to become a voice of conscience for global challenges, a place where you can hear God's heartbeat. And the images that you see there, some of the squares, zero hunger, no poverty, peace, justice, good health, they're actually from the United Nations. They have 17 sustainability goals for a sustainable planet. So this is at the global level that the United Nations is trying to promote zero hunger, no poverty. I know that sounds a bit far away, and even the strapline seems maybe far away. So what does it actually mean here in Brigg and surrounding areas? So it means, what do? We can't solve the world's problems, but we can do something here. And so the shop, the Churches Together shop, is part of Oikos. It's a place where people can come in out of the street, easily cross the threshold and have a conversation with somebody in the shop. It's a shop, it needs to wash its face, but it's not there particularly to make money. It's to sell Bibles, Christian literature, and be a place of conversation that people can come in and just have a chat. Some of those chats are very moving. There were a couple of teenagers came in around Christmas, and one girl had lost her nan shortly before, another lost a friend. Just didn't know where to turn, so they just came in tears and just needed to speak to somebody. And that's a real privilege to be there. So the first thing is an accessible place where people can talk and unburden and speak to somebody about faith or the things that trouble them, or to post a prayer. The other thing that's happened over the last few months is that we've taken over the food bank operation here in Brigg. So for a number of years, the food bank parcels were managed and provided for by the Barton Area Food Bank, and all that was run from Toffs Road, the Salvation Army at Toffs Road. But over the recent months, a team have got together and have initially worked alongside the team at Barton to take food from Brigg to Barton, package it up and bring it back to the Children's Centre. And then a couple of months ago, we took over that operation in the sense that a food larder has been established in Brigg, such that food collected at Tesco's or any of the 3 churches is collected, packaged up in Brigg and taken to the Children's Centre. And initially thinking it would be good to do that all ourselves, but you realise how these things work out, what a blessing it is to actually work with the Children's Centre. They've got teams of professional people go out to families, taking out food parcels to families, to children in need in Brigg. And so we are part of that supply chain, that's Oikos. So those 2 things are up and running. But we aspire to do other things, and working with young people is another of those areas. So the Respect Me program, which you may or may not have heard of, is about taking a program into secondary schools and to help them through all the pressures that they are under, self-esteem, bullying, abuse, all those sorts of things to be tackled in secondary school. So we hope to put the programme in place in partnership with others to do that. We're talking about other things such as social housing too, that's a bit further away. But you get the picture of how all these things fit together to respond to local needs. The key thing in all this, it's ecumenical. It doesn't matter at all which hat you wear on a Sunday, denominational hat, where you go. That's really not important. The thing is that we come together in service in the community here midweek, and that's what's driving us to do that, to work together in Christ's name. So the only thing I've not told you about is what Oikos means, and maybe some of you know, and maybe others don't. So we had. I'll finish with this, which is to say, where does this word come from? Well, it's actually a Greek word, and it means home, house, household. So if you like to think of a place where your needs are met, where you feel secure and safe, then house seems to be one of those words. It's also, for those that are into languages, the root of ecumenical too, and I think also economic. So it just fits, and that's all it costs. Thank you. Do you want to say a prayer at this point? Yeah. We'll just say a prayer in recognition of the day. Lord Jesus, we meet in your presence. We thank you for your presence here with us this afternoon. We give you thanks for Kate and all the words that you give her, for the way that you've cared for her all these years, how you've helped her grow. And Lord, we think of ourselves in the palm of your hands, how you look to provide us with security and comfort, but above all, that you seek us to be the persons we were always meant to be. Sometimes that takes us a while to understand what you have in store for us, each of us unique and special in your sight. So we pray that each of us may discover what it means to be in the palm of your hand and to grow in knowledge and in strength with you. But we also recognise that those hands are pierced by nails, that there is a cost, that at Easter time on Good Friday that you died for us, that love was costly. And that we are not just beneficiaries of that love, but we are also agents, activists in the truth that brings. And so, Lord, we also recognise that you take us by the hand and lead us out into the community, into the world, to be your voice and arms and legs and ears. And so we commit ourselves to that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Malcolm. God is always the same, and he always gives joy even when things are perhaps tough. Our second hymn this afternoon is Give Me Joy in My Heart. It talks about praise, about loving and serving, and I think these three things are echoed in my book, In the Palm of His Hand. Give me joy in my heart.
Give me joy in my heart.
seem to have a few technical hitches today. The battery's now gone on the mic, but not to worry. Before the service began, we spent quite a long time, was it a couple of hours I think, trying to sort out how to do bits and pieces technically. But we haven't given in and we've carried on. I've managed to take this that I prepared weeks ago. I put it on here, it was all safe. Somehow it's been in the wrong order. So again, things have gone wrong, but we carry on. I'm going to quote my new friend Kath. Did I give up? No. Those of you who go to Wednesday group will know that Kath spoke brilliantly last week about her love of pottery, and she kept saying, did I give up? No. I think there are lots of challenges that I've mentioned, and I'm sure there'll be lots of challenges ahead for me. One of the things Mike says is it's not what you dealt, it's how you deal with it. I would say I'm the one that moves away, God doesn't. God is always the same. No matter where I disappear to, which can be miles at times, he's always been true and he's always been faithful to me. This poem is called Always the Same. Yesterday, today, tomorrow the same. The love of God for each remains, unchanging, relentless in his commitment. God's love is beyond thought, limitless. No matter what we do or what we say, God is there beside us now and always. Whilst others their affection away take, nothing can God's love for us ever break. For God is all-powerful and Lord over all. In whatever situation, he is mighty conqueror. Neither death nor life separates us from him. Neither angels nor demons, no, not anything. Nothing can separate us from God's love. Nothing in the depths or in the heights above. God is constant, loyal, and always true. His grace he freely lavishes onto me and to you. His grace is everything. His love is everything. And when I'm Mardy, Michael keeps out the way. And I disappear and I have a bit of quiet time. Sometimes that's on my own and sometimes that's with Dottie, our dog. We chose Dottie as a name because it means gift of God. She was at Jerry Green's and her life up to being the age of 1, she'd already had 2 owners. And she was frightened, she didn't want to know us. If you went to see her, she'd look the other way. She's a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, so Michael thought she was a bit scary at first, but she's lovely. And we were weighing up what to call her, and we chose Dottie, gift of God. And we asked them, how old is she? Well, we know that she was born in January 2015, but we don't know the exact date. Well, we lost our other dog in January 2015, Jakey. He was my boy. He was my child that I've never had. And I was absolutely gutted. So what we did, the day that we lost Jakey, we gave Dottie it as her birthday. There's always something positive, I think, in most things. And sometimes I know that somebody might say something to me and I've got this knack of saying, but hold on a minute. I do try to look for the positive. I don't like to err on the negative. So if you find me doing that, come and tell me off. Wherever I go and I do talks, and it might not seem as though I know what I'm doing, but I do usually. I do talks over coffee. We had one in the cafe courtyard in Brigg only last week, and we'd had one a month ago. I've got one coming up at the Well in April. And I go to our Wednesday group and I go to various groups and I really enjoy chatting and talking about my poetry. And I always set myself this challenge, write something specifically for the day. So of course I had to write something for today, which I'll read in a moment. The challenges that I've had have been quite various. we went to a WI in Barton, I think it was last November time, and I say we because Jan at the front here, Hilda, and we've actually got Diane as well now. We go and do talks because I need somebody to look out for me and give me a bit of support. Not that I'm nervous, it's just that there's so much going on, and I think that's part of my dyslexia. I can cope if I can control something. And if it's only me, that's fine. But if it involves anybody else, I just need a bit of extra support. And my friends very lovingly give me that. So we went to Barton and we haven't got a speaker, can you fill in? So I thought, yeah, I can do that. What was your speaker going to talk about? So they said, oh, Hitchcock films. So I thought, oh, that's a big act to follow, isn't it? So I thought, true to my word, let's write something. So I came up with a poem all about Hitchcock films, and we played a game with the poem. They had to tell me how many films there were in it. Nora's nodding her head because she's heard it, haven't you? I think the closest somebody's got is 9 or 10, but there's actually something like 13 hidden in a poem. So again, if you want to give me a challenge, I'm happy. So my poem for today. Somehow, when I put pen down to my paper, the words tumble outwards there for me. You'd think with dyslexia it'd be difficult, yet writing comes surprisingly smoothly. I just let my thoughts flow downwards upon the pages or sometimes onto a screen. Like bubbles floating to the top of water, things rise upwards in faith and in belief. In my life there have been challenges, but reassured in poetry I am consoled. And never, when I've had something to say, have the sentences from me been withheld. It is as though I let go, God takes over, showing me each direction then to take. Seldom does my creative juice dry up. Those spelling errors I often make. Today is my testament to my journey so far, and it also marks what is yet to come. So many more verses and writing to do before the author of my life calls me home. It is my hope that this afternoon blessed you, and that you'll know in going as you stand, God is always with you in days yet to be, holding you in the palm of his hand. I'm loving doing this talk actually, because I've got 5 copies of my book, each with a poem already sort of with a bookmark, and I hope you've all got a bookmark. Feel free to take more if you'd like one. I've just got one more poem to share with you. And it is about being kind to yourself. We all have struggles, we've all acknowledged that, and we all, God is available to us all, as are people. Somebody once described people to me as God with skin on. If you need a hug, yes, you get a hug from God, but it's nice to get a physical hug, isn't it, sometimes? Whether a hug is a physical hug in your sense, in mine and Michael's sense, it's Michael goes and fills the car with petrol because it's a task I hate to do. Michael realises that I've not done the washing up all of it because I hate washing cutlery up. He'll say, I see you've left that for me. So my hugs between me and Michael are those that he gives me. Now what do I give Michael? Grief. I let him hear my poetry first. He'll sometimes say, oh, I was watching the football. But he's got one of those tellies that you can freeze it, so he's not so bothered now. But as I write so often, I do interrupt him quite a lot. I think in our house there are more hugs from him to me than the other way round. But I do cook, and I have been known to make him the odd cup of tea. I don't do his ironing anymore. Well, he's retired. He can do that himself. I'm quite good at being kind to myself, actually. I think, I'll say, well, I'll not do the ironing, you can do your own. Yes, I've cooked for you, but it's all in the freezer, so you have to take it out to defrost it and then wang it in the microwave. My best friend Judy couldn't be here this afternoon, and she wanted to be involved, and she chose our final hymn. But she's very good at telling me, remember to be kind to yourself. So as the next few weeks will undoubtedly be very busy, I will be saying this to myself a lot. And my message to you this afternoon is, rest in the palm of God's hand, but do be kind to yourself. Start the day by being kind to yourself. Go steadily, take now your time. Remember, you are my dear child. I chose you, you are mine. I will be alongside you today, and the tomorrow's yet to come. I'm not wishing to change you, only guide and gently you home. You'll be the best you can be, as we will walk side by side. Remember, my cord is strong. Together we are firmly tied. My creative hands work in you, and through you, look, here, see. All that you and I have made is of love and immense beauty. I will open the hearts of others. They will see what we have done, and they too will be inspired and want to me to closely come. But remember, be kind to yourself. Do not worry or stress at all. I'm your Lord and gracious Father. Just come and settle as I call. Lean not on your own understanding. In faith receive of me as I do you. And be assured that together there is nothing too hard to do. In the palm of his hand has been described as all sorts of things this week. One of our beta readers described it as a conversation between me and God, whose I somehow invite you in to be part of. I thought it was a beautiful thing to say. This morning I got a review from Nicholas Allen, otherwise known as Nick DeWolf, who is an author in America. He asked me to review some of his books, so I said, how about returning the favour? I'm astonished at what he came back with, and if you can follow me on social media, you'll get a chance to read that. He actually describes this book as pie. He describes pie, I wonder if because he's American, and I take it that pie's eaten a lot over there, yeah? He describes pie in different forms, whether it's sweet or savoury, and the care that's put into a pie. I was very touched about his description, and I'll be very appreciative of your descriptions of it. Whether it's a poem you'd like to tell me about that touches you, or the whole, whichever you like. We've got a book in the foyer that I invite you to write in, if you wouldn't mind, or there's bits of paper if you'd like to let me know anything at all. Or if you want to give me one of those challenges, please write it down for me. I'm going to hand back to Barbara. I thank you very, very much for listening to me. My heart goes out to you, and I hope you'll stay and have cake and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Can I just say a big thank you to Kate for allowing us to share in her book launch. I'm sure her poems have given us all something to think about and ponder on, and I'm sure we'll be talking about them as we join together in fellowship in the schoolroom for refreshments. We sing our final hymn, and for those of you who've got books, it's 378, Be Thou My Vision.
Be all else but not
we join together in the sharing of the grace, which will be on the screen.
Grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, be with us all, evermore. Amen.
We're just going to replay the video for you. While Malcolm is just sorting that out, I didn't say I'm working on my next book. So I look forward to sharing that with you, and if anybody wants to volunteer to be a beta reader, let me know. Also, through in the coffee area, there are a few pieces of the work that I do other than that's in the book, my more anecdotal, humorous, thought-provoking in a different way. Please have a read of that as well. Are we launching?
On its way.
On its way, he says. Yeah, I think technology can be a friend, can't it? But it's a bit of a struggle at times. We're planning to use this in church services, hopefully, so we're quite pleased that we've got to know how to use it today. Is that what they call a pregnant pause? Oh, here we go. Thank you for raising your hand. That was really good. I'm glad you like it. So please join us for coffee and cake and natter. Thank you.